Want to welcome everybody to the Mansfield Buzz. It's Thursday, 2 o'clock as usual. We're on every Thursday from 2 to 3 with a new Mansfield business guest who we like to talk to, get to know, and then we give them a copy so they can share it with all their potential customers and friends out there to the world. We want to welcome Jordan, our other host. Jordan's in the house. Hurdy Burke and Jason Randolph, who we'll get to in a minute with USA Benefits. So really quickly, guys, we wanted to let you know you are watching us. If you are watching us right now, we are live right here on YouTube. We'll put this up because we want other folks after the show's over to go join us on YouTube by subscribing, clicking that little bell you see up there, and being notified for our live shows, which we put up every Monday. We let you know who's going to be on the next Thursday. Little special note, next week is the 27th of June, and the following Thursday is July 4th. Guess what? Yours truly, unless Jordan wants to come on, we will be off for the next 2 weeks and back the second week of July in the Mansfield Buzz. So let me tell you, go grab an archive, catch up with all the great businesses we've already interviewed. And today we want to welcome our guest, Jason Randolph, independent agent of USA Benefit Groups. Jordan, say hi.
Hello.
See, I asked him to say hi, and he doesn't ad lib. See what happens? He just says hello,
and that is it.
And then Jason, welcome. Jason Randolph, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
We're gonna highlight you. I think maybe not. There we go. We're gonna highlight you today because you are the star of the show. The rest of us just sit over here on the right, and we just, our crack staff and producers came up with some great questions for you, Jason, just so you know, okay? We will be showing your contact information off and on in between questions as Jordan goes through these questions with you. And I love when Jordan takes over the questions because I say this every show. I'm hyper. I get going. I'm a radio guy. I don't like being on camera. I just feel like I have to speed things up. I'd rather just be audio. So Jordan kind of brings the calmness to the broadcast, just so you know that. Okay, Jason?
Okay.
So welcome again, Jason. Jordan, feel free to take over, and you can bust the questions out, and I'll jump in some of his contact information in between.
Definitely. Thanks for coming, Jason. This is going to be fun.
Thank you.
Now, I get to cheat on this one because I know you already, so I know what to ask and what are the interesting bits are. But for the people that don't know you and are watching this, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I'm new to Texas. I moved here in 2021. I was born and raised in West Tennessee, just outside of Memphis. And so I'm a military veteran and a 23-year law enforcement veteran with the Memphis Police Department. And so after I retired in 2020, we were going to move to Texas originally, but that was the year in the time of the pandemic that hit. So we decided to just stay put for a little while so things calmed down a little bit. And then we ended up moving here the following year in 2021. So I've been here in Texas since 2021 after retiring from the Memphis Police Department. Like I said, born and raised in Tennessee. I have a family that I love dearly. I love to spend time with them. I love to play golf in my spare time and travel and just hang out with my friends.
That's pretty cool. And so you came here in 2021, which, man, time flies, right? You're going on your third year now?
Yes.
Nice. And after 3 years, what's your take on Texas?
It's hot.
Hey, well, come on. Memphis is not cool either. I mean, Memphis is like hot and humid, right? I'm from Huntsville, Alabama, dude. I'm 4 hours down the road on 72. I can tell you it's hot and humid in Memphis.
It is. It's about the same climate. Texas may run at 5 or 10 degrees, so a little
20,
bit
30. Yeah,
it's pretty much the same climate. It's just a little hotter and drier here for a little bit longer.
It is.
Yep. Right. Now let me ask you the hot question. Right? We talked about curveballs. Let me throw you the first one.
Oh boy.
Memphis, right? Who's got the better barbecue?
Oh, you shouldn't have.
Well, it depends on what you like. I'm not a pork eater, so that's what Memphis specializes in. There's a lot of ribs and pulled pork sandwiches and stuff. I love Texas brisket, so I'm a brisket guy.
Ooh, yeah.
So I would say if you like brisket, Texas is your place. But if you like the ribs and the pulled pork sandwiches, maybe Memphis. You should give Memphis a try.
What a
Yeah.
great answer.
It depends what you like. Don't you like that answer? That's a great way to answer. Depends what
Yeah.
you like. Cool. That's awesome.
Could have been a lawyer, dude.
Should
A
have
good
been.
one.
But so you went from military, the police force, and then you landed on life and health insurance, which is not your typical. I mean, I wouldn't think it's a clear trajectory.
Right.
Now, I know your path, so I'm sort of like laying this one up, but I'm curious, like, what drove you to make a switch and go this path and take down this route?
Well, I've always liked helping people when they needed help the most, especially those who lack the knowledge and the skills and resources to help themselves. That's why I chose a career in public service and law enforcement to help people. And so I see insurance as a way of continuing that help and that public service. There's a lot of need in the community that I grew up in, and there's a lot of need worldwide for education on insurance products, how they work, what they are, why you need them, why it's important, and all that stuff. So I felt like this gave me an opportunity to continue that public service and continue helping people. But also it gave me the flexibility to spend more time with my family. I work from my home office. I don't have a traditional 9 to 5 where I have to clock in and be somewhere at a certain time. So it gave me that flexibility to spend more time with my family, at the same time help people, and to earn a little bit of money at the same time.
That's really cool. I hadn't thought about it that way, but actually it does make sense. I mean, it's service, it's helping.
Right.
That's awesome. So then tell me a little bit, let's dive a little bit deeper, right? So it's you mentioned this a few times, you're an independent agent, but I think a lot of people don't actually understand what that means and what that entails. There is some benefits to it, but could you just sort of take us of what that means and why is that an advantage?
Right, exactly. Well, there's typically 2 types of agents. There's going to be a captive agent and an independent agent. Captive agents work for a specific company, a specific organization. As an independent agent, I don't work for any particular company. I'm contracted and licensed with multiple companies in multiple states. So kind of like a Uber Eats of insurance, right? So if you were hungry and you wanted something to eat and you went to McDonald's, you could only eat what McDonald's sells. You couldn't eat anything different. So, but somebody like me, I can get you, just say you like McDonald's fries, but you want a burger from somewhere else and a shake from somewhere else. So I could get you the McDonald's fries. I can get you the Chick-fil-A milkshake, or I can get a burger from Whataburger and bring it all together to you. So I don't work for one particular company. I'm licensed and contracted in multiple states with multiple companies. That way I can do what's best for my client and not for one particular company. Insurance is not a one-size-fits-all type of thing. So it's individualized to the person, to the family. So what's best for this client may not be the best thing for the next client. And I can find you the most affordable coverage that's going to fit your need. That's the benefit of being an independent agent versus somebody who works for a captive agency.
And I got to hand it to you. That's probably the best analogy I've ever heard.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can get your milkshake from one and something from another, and I would also say, Jason, and going up a notch on that is, it gives you a lot of flexibility too, not only with rates and premiums for folks, but every company's a little different in how they offer their services, their benefits on certain policies, right? And that
Right.
you can get one or the other. So, I tell this story all the time. When you go through supplementals, and I know you're not in the Medicare, but when I went through all that and got set up on Medicare and the Plan G and the prescription stuff, I felt like I had come out of a fight and my elbows were bruised and cut up, and so it's nice that you can represent so many companies in certain states under their license, right, and be able to show those products off. So My question on that is, how does that work? Since you're under USA Benefits, and is it their license in those states that allows you to work within those different states with those products? How does that work?
No, I'm licensed individually in the states that I serve. So USA Benefits Group is my what we call the FMO, or Field Maintenance Organization.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so the reason you have to use FMO like that is because insurance companies don't want to contract with a million different individuals. So, I mean, it takes a lot off of them if they have an agency like USA Benefits Group that will make sure the agents are properly licensed, make sure they got their errors and omission insurance and all of that stuff. It just kind of takes away the paperwork and logistics from the big insurance companies. They don't have to worry about that. So
Sure.
instead of me just going to a particular company individually to contract with them, USA Benefits Group helps me with all the contracting and all of that stuff, but I still have to have the individual licenses for each state.
That's
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah, I was just
And
curious.
USA Benefits Group, I'm sorry, I will speak on that a little
You're
bit.
fine.
Yeah, go.
They've been around for 36 years now. It's an A+ rated company with the Better Business Bureau. They don't have any registered complaints that I've ever found anywhere online, and it's a group of over 300 individual agents all across the United States. So it's a pretty good organization to be involved with.
And I'm sure, based on your reputation and service you've done, that you want to make sure you are working for a very high-end level benefits company. So yeah, everybody, most people know who USA Benefits Group is. They may not recognize the name, right? But
Right.
they know who they are, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you, Jordan. I jumped in the way there. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's something I was wondering too, how that works. I actually didn't know that, so that's really cool. But it makes sense, right? Like, you leverage the power of the masses, but still everybody keeps their individuality.
Right, exactly.
That's really cool. So then going on, who are just to ask you, like, you're wanting to serve, you're wanting to provide a service. Is there a type of person that you're like wanting to, like, you have an ideal client or an ideal situation that you're wanting to help or shine light on?
Yeah, being an independent agent, I can help pretty much anyone. But my particular clients that I service the most are going to be 1099 employees or 1099 workers who don't get employer coverage. So typically the best, most extensive coverage you can get out there is going to be group employer coverage. Like when I was a police officer working for the city of Memphis, of course, we had our insurance through them. But if you are a small business owner or a 1099 contractor, just say like a real estate agent or independent truck driver, cosmetology, somewhere in there where you don't work for a particular company and you're responsible for your own healthcare, those are the typical clients that I service. A lot of times, if those clients make a certain amount of income and they don't qualify for an ACA subsidy, ACA is going to be very, very expensive for them. And so I can put them in some plans and some policies that's going to provide them with just as much coverage or even better coverage in some cases, and for a far less price than what they can find on the marketplace. So those are going to be my typical clients. I also help families, small groups. I can help groups of anywhere from 20 to 50 employees, or I can help individuals, families. It doesn't matter. I can help a lot of people with the variety of products that I have through the multiple carriers that I have. So those are my typical clients. The self-employed is going to be my most typical client.
Yeah.
So you've got a company, let's say, has an owner, 5 or 6 employees. They're starting to look around because part of their gig is they have to do something right, and they need some sort of group. To me, that would be a typical client for you, right? And of course, it could be a large organization too,
Yes.
but this would be a good starting point for a client to talk to you, correct?
That's a perfect client for
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
Individual with 5 or 6 employees would be perfect for me. They don't have to, they're not mandated by law to provide coverage, but I can show them some options that's going to save them money, make their employers happy,
Sure.
employees happy, because if if you don't provide them with benefits, they're going to probably go somewhere where they can get benefits. So I can show them how they can do that and afford it, do it effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that a lot of these people start out in their businesses by themselves. They start off 1099 and then eventually they become an LLC or S corp or whatever. And then they migrate into getting some employees. And the thing that kind of gets tossed aside a little bit is, the benefit side, the group benefit side. So
Right.
I would say reach out to Jason if you're in that. If you're now considering that in our local Mansfield or surrounding area, and you're hearing this or you're going to listen to this on demand, this would be a great guy to talk to. I've had one-to-one with him. I even have a policy with him, and I can tell you he's a great guy to sit down and he explains everything perfectly. All the I's are dotted, T's are crossed. You walk away, you know exactly what you're doing. So, and that's a good thing. So
Yeah. So, and I can help those businesses in two ways. If we don't do the group employee sponsored coverage, we can get them signed up individually, and I can take care of each individual employee without the employer being involved, or I can do it the other way around as well, where the employee is sponsoring part or all of the coverage.
Wow. Okay.
So we have the flexibility to do both.
As we say, coolness.
So then moving on to
Whoop. Hey, did you try to click that button same time?
I did. I shouldn't have.
No, that's okay.
So now moving on to different policies, right? So what are the different type of life insurance policies that people should be aware of? Because that is a very interesting area, right? Like you think a life insurance policy is just that, but there is such a depth to the different insurance policies that you can have, and some of them are more like financial instruments. Yeah. Some of them take care of your family, some of them take care of you. Could you walk us through a little bit of that that mess?
Yeah, basically all life insurance policies going to fall into two categories. Going to be either permanent or term life policies. So a permanent policy, or also called whole life policies, universal life policies, those are going to be policies that the death benefit is guaranteed until age 100 or 120 in most cases. And a term policy is going to be just that. It's for a specific amount of time. And that's going to be like your 10-year term, 20-year, 30-year term. Those are your most common. And they vary depending on the individual needs. Which one is better? Individual, it depends on the individual as to which one is better. So they both have advantages and disadvantages. Term life policies are usually a little bit less expensive than whole life policies, but there's a possibility that you could outlive the term. So that would be a disadvantage of that. Whole life policies are guaranteed your entire life, but they usually run a little bit more expensive depending on the type of policy you need and how much coverage you need. And so I know you were talking about an instrument earlier. The IULs, I think is what you are speaking of, the individual, the index universal life policy. So those can be used to generate income in the right circumstances, but you have to be careful and do your due diligence on those type of policies, because life insurance policies were never intended to be an instrument of financial growth. Okay. So that was not the intent of it, but if you structure one properly, it can be used. You can have cash accumulation that you can take out, but I would suggest you really sit down and talk to a life insurance agent that's experienced in those IULs and that sold some before. Do your due diligence on that, because anytime you're talking about investment, there's going to be some risk involved. And life insurance typically is not an investment instrument. So you see those videos all the time on like social media platforms where they're talking about, you can use your life insurance policy as a bank and take out money, this and that. You have to be careful listening to certain advice. And can it be done? Yes. Is it typical? No, it's not. And what they're not telling you is the face amount you have to purchase, and the monthly premiums is, can you afford that? And my thing is, I advise clients to look at all their options. If you're interested in generating income, there are some other options that you can use other than insurance. That's probably going to be a lot better. A lot of agents won't tell you that because they'll sell you the policy because they're going to make a commission off of it. But well, me, I'm not so much interested in making a commission as doing what's right for my client, because I don't want somebody to come back to me years later and say, hey, I invested in this, or I bought this type of policy and now I'm losing money. What's the deal? So do your due diligence on those IULs, those index universal life policies. But any kind of life insurance policy is going to be good if you don't have any. So most of the people, there's statistics that show that like only 51% of people in the United States actually have a life insurance policy. So that means about half the people in the United States are currently going right now without life insurance. So you definitely need to talk to an agent and get some life insurance if you don't have one. The policies can be very inexpensive, especially when you're younger and healthier. So, yeah.
Yeah. So my gut feeling says you buy these things when you're young, right? When you need the most protection, because that's when you might have assets that aren't paid for that need to be covered if you end up being married and you need to take care of your family. I would also say life insurance is funny because what used to be just a death benefit for payment for dying, to help the families, turned into all these kind of financial instruments and stuff, which I always thought that you got life insurance because if you died, it helped your family.
Right.
What do I know? And I also know that a lot of people think that they when they build up their cash value in a life insurance policy, and Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, they can borrow that money out that they built up in the policy, but it reduces the death benefit, and they have to pay a percentage back of that loan back in a second payment of their own money. Correct?
It depends on how the policy is structured. That's why I say you need to sit down with somebody that has experience and know what they're talking about. It doesn't typically reduce the death benefit. The loan would have to be paid back before the death benefit is received, or it can be taken out of the death benefit in some cases. So a lot of them, it depends on the company that issued the policy. It depends on how the agent structured the policy. So there's so many variables there that it's best to sit down with somebody to really get an understanding of what you're using and how you're using it. Because like you said, life insurance policy, when they started out, they weren't typically designed to be a financial instrument. They were designed to provide a death benefit, upon the death of the claimant. So, but some of the policies now, most of them have, you even find term policies now that have other benefits.
I know.
Outside of the death benefits, like what they call living benefits, where you can take some of the money to use if you are terminally ill, if you have to go into a nursing home or anything like that. So those are attractive benefits as well that most life insurance policies come with today. Or you can add them as a rider for, additional fee.
There you go. It's important you have it.
Yeah. I mean, it's protection, right? Like, nobody ever plans for it.
Right.
And nobody wants to talk about it. That's the thing. Nobody wants to sit down and go, well, they don't want to plan. And that's the thing that kills me, because when my father got killed in 1983, we had life insurance. He also had his IBM benefits, and but we had a nice life insurance policy, and that really took care of the problems for my mom and what was going on in her, because he was only 54 when that happened. So they're right in the prime of their life. Right. So I understand it. And why people that are young couples don't sit down and sacrifice something to pay $20 a month for $100,000. And I'm just throwing a number out. I have no idea, but I'm just guessing it's not that expensive when you're young, where you can get a maximum amount of life insurance. You're crazy if you're not sitting down. If you have a house, if you have people you've got to cover, you need to be in a life insurance policy. Even it means if you give up something else.
Definitely.
To sacrifice to get it. I'm sorry. I shouldn't go on my soapbox, but because I've been through that with my family, it's a big deal. And it wasn't a big deal till it happened. and then it becomes a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, in being a police officer, I've seen a lot of cases where unexpected death happen. You know, I've
Yeah.
worked fatality traffic crashes. I've worked a ton of shootings, just all kind of situations where people uh, died unexpectedly. And most of the time they don't have any kind of procedures in place, no life insurance, no plans at all whatsoever. And it's a burden on the families. And like you said, $20 a month, you know, I just wrote a young lady, 27, 28 years old, $50,000 whole life policy for $18 a month, you know. And the younger you are, the healthier you are, the cheaper it's going to be. Now, the problem is most of the people wait until they get old and they get sick and they have all these conditions and everything, and that's going to shoot the premium up. I'm sorry to say that, but the premium is going to be a little bit higher because the risk is a little higher.
You think? Okay,
Yeah.
so Herdy goes out at 69, tries to buy a whole life policy right now. I got news for you.
Yeah.
Trade your car in, sell your house. No, I'm kidding.
It won't be that expensive. We can get you taken care of.
But you need to get my point.
But it won't be $20 a month.
No, it's not. All right, Jordan, back to you. We just interrupted your whole show. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right, dude. That's important. And I think you make a really clear point. And thanks for sharing that too, because it's not too different that I experienced too. You know, my dad passed away during COVID. That was unexpected as well. You know, I mean, COVID was unexpected. Him passing away too.
Right.
He was 67, I want to say.
Wow.
And yeah, completely unexpected, but he had life insurance. So thanks to that, my mom was able to continue life as, I mean, obviously not normal, but it prevented it from being a much bigger tragedy than just having to readjust and deal with the loss instead of having to figure it out. Like, how are you going to keep your home? How are you going to make ends meet, right? A lot of the times there is a party that makes a significant amount more money than the other. And if you're going to take that out completely, like, have some backup in place to be able to help out. Which leads me to my next question. How much life insurance should a person have, right? Like, how do we do that calculation? How do we know like that we're covering those that are important to us?
That's a good question. Good question. And the simple answer is a person should get as much life insurance as they can comfortably afford. And in some cases, like Herdy said, even if you have to give up, your daily trip to Starbucks or whatever, you should get as much life insurance as you can afford. And what you need to do is sit down and do what we call a needs analysis with an agent. And they can sit down and tell you based on your family, because it's going to be different for every situation. Everybody's not in the same boat. So, for example, like you said, Herdy, a 70-year-old man, just say you don't have a family and it's just you don't need very much life insurance at all. Maybe a $25,000 final expense policy will cover your final expenses. But a person that's 50 years old with a family, kids, a mortgage, they're going to need income replacement to protect all of those assets and to help that family replace your income when you're gone and to keep paying the bills and stay in the house and all of that. So each individual need is going to be based on that particular family situation. So that's why we sit down with an agent, we do a needs analysis, and we determine, how much you need based on your situation. But the simple answer is get as much as you can as early as you can, because when you get it early, it's going to be a lot cheaper, and you'll be amazed at how much you can get a $500,000 policy for at age 25 versus age 65.
Is there a cap that you like, for example, like if you can afford quite a bit, like how much can you get?
Well, one of my carriers, they have a policy that caps out at $65 million. So, the answer is probably there's no cap. Yeah, you can get as much as you can afford, but it's going to be based on need, right? You're going to have to show assets and income and all of that type of stuff to justify that type of policy. They're not just going to write a person that's making 50 grand a year a $60 million life insurance policy.
Wonder what's
Because
going on there,
yeah,
right?
exactly, yeah. So it's going to be based on
Hmm.
your financial situation. You're going to have to show your assets and all of that type of stuff. But you can get policies that's way up into the millions. The most expensive policy I've ever written was a $1 million policy for a client of mine. And so, but he was a business owner as well, and doing pretty well. But yeah, the sky's the limit. As much as you can afford is what I tell people to get. And I always stress getting it early because it's going to be a lot cheaper. You can afford a lot more when you're young and healthy.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So then, what type of health insurance plans do you offer? I need to quit touching it.
Health insurance, we run the gamut. So I do a lot of private indemnity plans, and those are basically they repay whatever your expenses are. They pay a fixed amount based on whatever the procedure is. Like there's a fixed amount for doctor visits, a fixed amount for different procedures, and there are scales. So it depends on your income level and how much you can afford. You can get like a level 1, 2, 3 type policy plan that each level pays a little bit more. It's just basically what you can afford. I sell a lot of ACA policies, Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare policies. There are some people that I have enrolled in those plans. So yeah, I can do any type of major medical. I have a carrier now that does major medical the same as the ACA, but it's through private insurance. I work with all the top carriers. I don't. They have different rules about naming names and stuff, so I won't name specific names. But all of the top carriers I sell. If you can think about it, yeah, we probably sell them. So indemnity plans, ACA plans, private healthcare plans, and I do a lot of supplemental insurance. I stress supplemental insurance all the time because those are going to be the type of policies that's going to cover you and fill in the gaps when your major medical and your other insurances leave you with high deductibles and out-of-pocket expenses and stuff. I always try to stress to people to buy something that's going to cover your out-of-pocket expenses, because no one insurance plan is going to cover everything 100%. You're going to have to get something that's going to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine gave me an analogy of how you start building your castle. It's kind of how we visualized it, and said, imagine all these insurances are your moat. You're building a moat around your castle, and that's going to protect you from life trying to tear down the castle that you're building. So you're, obviously life insurance is at the extreme end, right? Like it'll protect your legacy. You have your health insurance, which protects you while you're alive and for things that you can go through. And then there's supplemental, which I want to talk to you a little bit about that, because that is when I think strategy plays into the insurance world. And it's something that if you put together a good strategy, you can be pretty well protected if you structure things correctly, which you seem to be very in tune with.
Right. Yeah, you can be well protected. You can be completely covered. I suggest everybody of course, you're going to have your major medical policy, whether it's through group or ACA or something like that. But you also would need an accident policy, because accidents happen. Accidents are the leading cause of death between 16 and 25-year-olds. So you definitely, if you got young kids that's playing sports or active in school and stuff like that, they're going to get hurt. You're going to have trips to the emergency room. An accident policy is going to take care of any unforeseen accidental injury that you may have. It's going to fill in the gaps if you go to the emergency room and you have to pay a $250 copay with your regular insurance. Well, this accident policy is going to cover that $250 copay, so you're out of pocket $0. So I would suggest everybody gets at least an accident policy to cover every member of the family, and a critical illness policy, because critical illness is going to be one of those things that can bankrupt a family. If, just say you have a family member that has a massive heart attack or stroke and spending a couple of weeks in the hospital, intensive care and all of that stuff, you're going to have out-of-pocket expenses along just to go with that hospital stay. And then when that person, there's going to be a recovery period. So you may not be able to work for several weeks or several months, or you may not be able to go back to work at all. So you're going to have some kind of critical illness policy that's going to cover you in the short term or maybe even the long term. That's going to pay you a percentage of your income while you can't work until you can get back on your feet and get back working. We have policies that pay lump sum if you get diagnosed with any type of cancer, or if you have a heart attack or stroke, they pay a lump sum anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 in most cases. So that money, it can be used any way you need it to be used for. If you need to catch up on bills, if you need to pay rent while you can't work, if you need to pay your car note or whatever, you can use that money for that. So accident policy, critical illness policy, something that's make sure it's going to cover cancer, heart attack, and stroke, because those are the leading causes of deaths for adults, heart disease, cancer, and strokes. So if you got something to cover cancer, heart attack, stroke, and accident, along with your regular medical insurance, you're pretty well covered. You shouldn't be out of pocket any money at all if you hurt or injured.
That's pretty great. I mean, it's a way to really cover all your bases, right?
Right. And that's what we want to do. That's what I try to tell families. I want to do a total complete coverage package. I don't want to just sell you a regular insurance policy, and then when something unforeseen happens and you can't work and you don't have any income coming in, your regular insurance is not going to do anything for that. You're going to have something that's going to pay you either a lump sum or pay you for being off work, like or being in an accident. You're going to have something to supplement the regular insurance. That's what supplemental insurance is all about. It goes along with it. It helps in addition to it. It fills the gap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if you remember, if you're not comfortable talking about this on air, that's okay too. But you had told me a pretty insightful story that kind of opened my eyes as to like what having this policies in place can look like when you're going through one of these major illnesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember if you said it was like a cousin or sister.
Yeah, I have several family members that have been diagnosed with cancer. It runs in my family, on both sides of my family, and it also runs in my wife's family as well. So I really stress to all of my family members, you need a cancer policy, because chemo, radiation, all of the treatments you're going to have to go through, your major medical, your regular insurance is not going to cover all of that stuff at 100%. Or there may be a facility that you need to go to and it's out of network, or it's just not covered at all by your regular insurance. And if you had a cancer policy, it will take care of that. If you had a policy that will pay a lump sum, you can use that lump sum to take care of that. And these policies, they start at only less than $10 a month. So it just depends on the level of coverage you get and how young and healthy you are, but they're very reasonable, very affordable. So there's no reason not to get one. I have my niece actually got a cancer policy from me. I think she got a $20,000 lump sum policy, and it's only like $23 a month, something like that. And like I said, it runs in our family. So that was one of the reasons she got it. She's protected, she's taken care of. And in the event something like that happened, I feel comfortable that she'll be able to still pay her bills and still continue the lifestyle that she's living. My own sister-in-law, my wife's sister, was diagnosed with breast cancer years ago, and she was off work for quite a while, about a year actually. But because she had the proper insurances and everything, she was able to maintain her lifestyle and keep her house and all of the things like that. So insurance is very important. It's personal to me because I do have a lot of family members that have been victims of this cancer, and also victims of other illnesses and accidents as well. And all of my family members, I'll say this as well, everybody is not covered like they should be. I'm working on them still. So I do have those that they say they're going to get policies. They need to get policies. So I'm still, waiting on some of them to come around. But this type of coverage is going to protect you on your worst days, and that's what I want to do, is help people on their worst days.
And Jason, for a fact that trying to tell your family to jump into something you're in is one of the most hardest things to do for some reason. I don't know why, but it is, so there you go.
But they're listening. They just are moving their feet a little slow, but they're listening.
Yeah. Nothing like, I was going to say, nothing like having somebody in the business that's going through stuff like this. It relates easily to your message to your potential clients too, because you can actually say, I have experience with this and this is how we help them. There's nothing better than that kind of story to carry around with you, to get other people to see the light. That's awesome. Good story. I did not know that, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. I think it's important for people to know that that's possible, and to be prepared, because cancer, we live in a time that cancer is no longer a death sentence, right? Like, we have a lot of ways to treat it. We haven't found like a magical cure, but a lot of cancer is manageable, curable to certain periods for long periods of time, but it's still a very aggressive treatment, and you're going to need to have all your energy and focus on healing. Right. If you're stressed out about having to make ends meet, pay your bills, keep your house, keep your car, feed your family, like, you're not going to be able to devote all your energy and be stress-free for your body to heal. So that's very important. It's as much of a protection to your health as it is to your income.
Absolutely.
Right. That's very important. You hit the nail on the head. If you're stressed about money and bills, you're not going to be able to heal properly.
No.
So this can just take a little bit of that stress away. And it's so easy to do, is to have a system in place and have the correct products in place to alleviate that stress, and you can focus on healing. And if you need to go to rehab, you can go to rehab, and it's going to be paid for. If you need this specific treatment, it's going to be paid for, and you don't have to worry about that. Go and get the help that you need. I've had people, I know somebody that was involved in an accident, automobile accident, and when you go to physical therapy, they're going to want to see you. Usually, they're going to tell you, I need to see you 3 times a week for 4 weeks. That's typical. Well, with your regular insurance, each time you go to that physical therapy visit, it's going to be like a $40 copay. Well, this person was not able to make that $40 copay after a couple of weeks and stopped going to therapy. So they didn't get the treatment that they needed because of financial situations. If you just had a simple accident policy, one of the ones I sell off the top of my head, I know they pay $70 per visit for physical therapy. So if you had that policy in place, you could have paid your $40 copay and still had $30 left over for whatever else you needed. So this type of insurance is the policy is only $25 a month. So I mean, you can't afford to not have this type of coverage to protect you in all situations.
And that's exactly the accidental policy I have with Jason.
That's the exact policy. Yeah, you have heard it. Yes, exactly.
That's right. And we are looking at the others because I'm healthy now, and I'm looking at the others. We're going to talk about it some more in the next couple of weeks when I get back to my trip. So good, man. This has been great, Jordan. We got a couple more questions for Jason.
Yes, but I'm not going to click on it.
No, I'm not either. So go ahead. Okay, let me explain something. We're all 3 in different locations. Jordan and I, he has access to the back end of StreamYard, and so he can click on stuff just like I can. So sometimes we both click on, like that. Thank you. Get me off screen. Yeah, put me back on the side. Thank you. So he can do that, and I can do that. So I'll let him click the buttons.
I'll click the button.
There you go.
So walk me through, how does the enrollment process look like for somebody who wants to get a policy?
It's very simple. It's 100% remote, like we are now. We can do it over Zoom, FaceTime, Skype, Teams, whatever social media, whatever platform you have. We can do it that way. We can do it over the phone. if you're local here in the DFW area, I live in Mansfield, so I can come to you. We can meet at a coffee shop or whatever. But that's really unnecessary because the whole process is electronic. We don't do any paper applications anymore or anything like that. So the enrollment process is simple. I get the information I need from you. I schedule a Zoom meeting or something like that, send the person a link through their email. We hook up on Zoom like we are now, and we can do face-to-face. I can pull up the brochures and I can point out each individual aspect of the coverage they're getting, the prices and all of that. We can go over that. I can answer any questions they may have. The enrollment process is simple. I just need your basic demographic information and however you're going to pay, whether it be checking account or credit card information. We can do that over a secure link, and you're signed up. You'll get a copy of your policy in email, and you'll also get a paper copy in the mail, and you're done. It's very easy. Depending on the type of policy, it can take anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, but it's very easy and very quick.
That's phenomenal. And for whenever you're doing life insurance, health insurance. Life insurance, that's the one where they do the blood test, right?
It depends on the type of policy you're getting. I have a lot of simplified issue, what we call simplified issue policies, where there's no underwriting at all. Well, there's underwriting, but it's just a couple of medical questions, and you'll have to sign a secure link for them to do like a prescription drug check. It's basically all they do, an MIB check, and they see what kind of prescription medicines you're taking, if you're taking any, and the policy is issued instantly after that. But if you're going to get like a multi-million-dollar policy and it's going to be fully underwritten, then you'll have to go through a medical exam. More than likely, they'll send you information on some clinics in your area based on your zip code, to where you can just go and have the procedures done. They'll do a blood draw and a couple of other things, blood pressure check and all that type of stuff. They'll still do the prescriptions and all of that. But so there's two types of insurance policies that you're gonna have a simplified issue and a fully underwritten issue one. The fully underwritten are the only products where you're gonna have to go through medical exam. The simplified issue, they just ask a couple of medical questions and that's it.
That's cool. And also a word of advice, PSA, and I'm going to pick on my brother-in-law because it's funny. Do not smoke cigars the day before you're going to take a blood test, because tobacco will show up in your system, and they do not like that.
They're it's usually a higher charge for tobacco. Now, most carriers, an occasional cigar is okay. They won't upcharge you for that. But I definitely wouldn't do it the day before you take the test. But if you smoke a cigar here and there, that's fine. But the people who smoke a pack of cigarettes a day and stuff like that, your policy is going to be a couple of dollars more expensive than someone who doesn't smoke, because your risk is going to be a little higher. Insurance is all about the transferring of risk. So the higher the risk for the insurance company, the higher the premium is going to be for the person that they're transferring the risk to.
That is awesome. So then how can we contact you?
Okay. My website right there is that's my email. It's jrandolph@usabg.com. That's the website, usabg.com/jrandolph. And you can also reach me at the phone number. Let me make sure I'm giving the right one. It's 817-961-9669. Those are the three ways you can reach me, and I'll be glad to help anybody I can at any time.
Awesome. That's great. I hope people feel inclined to take the step, because it's important, especially if you have a family. Really gotta make sure you're taking care of everybody, because you never know. Nobody ever plans to check out, or at least the majority of people don't. So it's a
well,
it's a good thing to have in place.
Yeah, and I always tell people the only thing we know that's going to happen for sure is we're all going to die one day. And so it amazes me that the number of people, like we said earlier, are not prepared for what is going to come one day. You may not know when it's going to come, but it's going to come. So get a life insurance policy. get some supplemental health insurance policies to take care of you on your worst day. That's what I want to do, and I want to help people do. That's the message I try to get out there. You want to be fully prepared and fully covered on the worst day of your life.
That's phenomenal.
And I would say this, let me get you back. Let me get myself, I can't get, would you drag me back over, Jordan, into the middle? So let me say this. So first of all, Jason, thank you for serving our country. Then secondly, thank you for serving as a public servant in the police department in good old Memphis, Texas. I can imagine you being on the streets there. But, you know, very cool you did that. And folks, so Jordan, thank you for great questions and leading us through the live. It's really cool. It makes it so much fun when there's a sidekick. Believe me, it just takes all the not pressure. It's not that. It's just more of you get different feels and voices, and it changes up how it looks and feels and sounds, and that's pretty good. So I recommend you reach out to Jason. Jason's not the only insurance people we have in our Mansfield Network group, which we always like to mention on the show because a big part of the people we interview come out of here. But the cool thing is that he's in a very particular market where he likes to do certain things with certain people in certain kind of policies. That's his niche. And because of his family situation, which he told us. So I encourage, if you're young, couple, family, getting started, talk to this guy or talk to somebody, right, that can help you. But especially Jason, he's really cool to sit down and talk to. He's more laid back than you, Jordan, believe it or not. Okay, just so you know. And he's smiling. So that's great. So listen, guys, we are on every single Thursday from 2 to 3. The exception is next week, which is the 27th, I believe, and July 4th, which is upon Thursday, celebrating the independence of our country. And I will be off next Thursday and the following Thursday. If Jordan wants to get on and just gab away about life in itself, he's more than welcome to jump on and do his own thing. But officially, we're going to ask you to go grab an archive off our channel and keep growing it. We just passed Jordan and Jason. We just passed 47 subscribers, and we're still in the over 3,500 views. And we're still in about the 29 to 35 watch time hours, which for that amount of subscribers, that's pretty good. We want to get to 100 subscribers. So, Jason, once we get your broadcast tightened up on the YouTube channel, ready for distribution, I'll send you a link. Feel free to send that link anywhere you like. We'll also send you a developed short that highlights a certain part of the show. And we'll supply you with the audio and the video of this show to do anything you like. Okay, we'll send that through a Dropbox link. You can just download it. Feel free to doctor the raw audios we send you. Do anything you want with it. Okay, Jordan, any final words?
Go get protected. Protect your family. Make your life easier. Do it.
All right, guys. We're signing off. Mansfield Buzz. Have a great day. We'll see you the second week of July. Happy 4th and be safe over the next coming holidays in the next 2 weeks. All right. Bye.